What do you think?
Delicious.
Do you think you asked for too much food?
Yes. It's not my fault it tastes good.
You like tuna melts?
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you've had one?
I don't remember.
All right, enjoy.
Sounds good.
Well, fresh tuna. Fresh tuna sandwiches, fresh tuna pancakes. You're at the end of your tuna journey. If you saw my video on fresh tuna kimchi stew, you'll see that Jeff gave us, shout out to Jeff Smith, fisherman extraordinaire. He gave us this tuna, and these are just little scraps. This guy's really big. I'm gonna boil this up. I'm gonna cook it. It still smells fresh as a daisy. I've taken care of the fish though, but I wanna go ahead and process it. I'm just putting it in cold spring water. I'm gonna put to this amount of fish. I probably have about 4 pounds of raw tuna. I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons of salt. I'm gonna let it come to a simmer. I'm gonna wash off all of the water that it cooks in, and then we're gonna package it, and then we're gonna make a bunch of stuff. Tuna sandwiches, tuna pancakes, tuna this and tuna that. All right, all jokes aside though, we are gonna make all that. All right, but we gotta get this tuna packed. Cold water, 2 tablespoons salt. Let's see how it goes. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. This was a lot of water and a lot of tuna. My tuna was really cold. So even before it comes to a boil, all this scum is gonna start forming, and I would just say, take it out. I'm gonna skim it. It's gonna release a lot more foam. I just wanna be able to see the smaller pieces of tuna that I put in, because I'm gonna be pulling them first because they're smaller, so I don't want them to overcook. Okay, I was skimming all the foam and everything, and these are the small pieces that you saw at the end. These were, I don't even like calling them scraps. They were small bits of tuna that didn't go into anything else, and this is gonna make for wonderful tuna sandwiches or triangle kimbap or anything you want to make with tuna. Let's start with A and work our way down. And this is just beautiful, precious meat. Fresh tuna. All right, I'm gonna give it a quick rinse-a-roo, and then I'm gonna put it in a bowl. Okay, the next piece of my tuna, this is the first bit that's come out, and look, they're just perfect. They are beautifully poached, and the next biggest one has come out. It's 105 degrees where I live now. I live in Southern California, Los Angeles to be specific. And we're having a heat wave, and I do not have air conditioning, so, but it's super hot. But this is so worth it. Look at all this beautiful tuna. So all this like skin and some of the darker bits, I'm gonna deal with that post-production, like they say. I'm just trying to get it perfectly poached right now, cooled down, not overcooked. And then like these they're already perfection. So I don't really have to do a lot to them. They're still warm, even though I gave them a quick rinse in room temperature water. But this guy, you see, he's not flaking yet, but he's just perfect, and the residual heat is gonna end up cooking this. I have my other 2 really large pieces still in the pot, but I wanted to show you how you just keep looking at this. I didn't catch the fish, I didn't cut it, I wasn't there. So I can't really give you an instruction as to how long you would cook it. It depends on the piece. So these came out first, these were thin. Some of these are, you know, The thinnest, maybe 1/2 inch thick, and then this is about 2.5 inches thick on one side. So you just have to monitor it. But the main thing is that you have to look at each piece and cook it before it starts flaking too much, but not where it's raw on the inside, because this is the end. We really want to get this done. Not perfectly cooked, but really, really tender because of everything else we plan on doing with all this fun cooked tuna. All right, time for me to get back to the big pot. Okay, the last 2 pieces of tuna have come out. I'm not gonna do anything to touch them, cool them, rinse them. To the touch, they still feel really, really like squishy on the inside, but with all the carryover cooking, it's gonna be perfect. Then I will trim all of the skin, any leftover bloodline, which are like the darker pieces. For right now, I just want to use all of that to help like shield my tuna from anything. It's just a little added layer of protection, and I can always, like I said, just peel all that off, get it all ready to go. So I'm gonna leave this here for probably about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back. But before that, I wanna show you my water. Well, first thing is, this is how much I skimmed off. I would say it is 2/3 of a cup. So this was a lot of like foamy stuff, and that kept these big pieces nice and clean. They're still gonna need, like I said, additional cleaning. But if you see my my video for how to make fresh fresh tuna kimchi stew, you'll see that had a lot more like stuff floating around, and it's only because of how the meat was cut, the tuna was cut. It can be messier or not messier. It depends on how clean you keep the water. But let me show you the water itself. All right, here's the water. Not so bad, right? I mean, not so perfect, not so clear. I could still see down to the bottom of the pot. All right, so that's all that skimming, and it was really easy to pull out any last bits of meat. Anything that's left in there now is not going to be used. So for fresh tuna melt, fresh tuna melt, so tuna not in a can, I have 308 grams of fresh tuna. Let's see, 26 grams of fine diced celery. Let's see. Just resetting my... Okay, I'm zeroing it out. Oops, let me grab my jalapeno. Okay, I have just a little bit of fresh jalapeno from my husband's dad's garden. 6 grams. I shouldn't even have put that as part of the recipe because it's optional, and if you wanted to add extra heat or not, you could. And then I'm going to be using Duke's mayonnaise today, because that's all that I have. Not that I don't love Duke's, just that I usually just buy a variety of different mayonnaises if I don't make it, and right now I have Duke's. So to my 308 grams of tuna, approximately 92 grams of mayo, and that last gram was just black pepper that I put on top. All right, the last ingredient, I'm just gonna break this up a tiny little bit, is get my fresh onion. Okay, here's my small diced onion. Seven grams. I think I'm gonna add the rest of what I have prepped. It's not that much. So 10 grams of onion. Add as much as you want. But this is just a general rule, between 9 and 10 grams of fresh onion. It's very small diced. Take time to mix. What is this? 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay. I'm gonna add one tiny little bit of either lemon juice or Dijon. Probably a little Dijon mustard. Let me grab some. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon of French style Dijon mustard. Well, all Dijon is French. This is what I'm using. This guy. So hot. I barely have energy to talk. Going through a heat wave. So I'm gonna give this all a good mix. I'm going to get out our rye, our cheese, and then we're gonna set it up. And I think I'm gonna do this in my New Wave oven. I have the old-fashioned one, not the good modern one. But this one works, so let's try that. Obviously, if you don't have an old house and you have air conditioning, you could just put it in the broiler. But we're gonna have to work around that right now. Big mix, put everything away. Check for salt. I'll be back. Look at this little antique New Wave. Anyway, that's not even the point. All right, I have buttered. I'm gonna be making my husband 2 tuna melts. This is Jewish rye, and on the outside I just have softened butter. This is the side you're looking at. And then now I'm going to flip them over and start filling them with our cheese and our tuna. All right, I've got 2 pieces of young cheddar, and I've got my half rye breads. I'm just gonna top these off with, this is baby Swiss, and then this is aged white cheddar. Okay, now we're gonna put the New Wave, my ancient tool, on here. It's super hot. Like I said, we're in a heat wave in Southern California, so we don't wanna turn on the stove. So next step is to put the New Wave on. Through this amber window into time, I've got them in there. I do not know how to adjust this temperature. Why did my mom die? She would have given us all the answers. All right, it's in here at 350 degrees. I wanted it at 425, like a broil feature. Let's see, maybe I will try to just clear the whole thing. Clear. All right, let me try to get it at the right temp. Clear. Hearts were made to be broken. I don't know, I can't figure it out. It's fine though. This little New Wave thing is, well, it's not little, but it is a fun tool. And let me tell you, it's the only way I make my Cubano sandwiches. I know they have new ones. And New Wave, I want to try your oven. But this has worked for many, many, many years. All right, like I said, I have it set to 5 minutes. I think at, I guess now at 425, between 350 and 425. But if you have a broiler option, like I said, I don't want to turn on my oven. That's why I'm using this little butte. But you can see that the cheese is melting. Melting away. It's fun to watch this. Live and in action, tuna melt, melting. Smells good. I love caraway. That's the spice that's in rye bread. I love meat sauces with caraway. I don't eat a ton of them, but when I do have that meat sauce with caraway, I'm always like, yum, it adds such a great flavor. And of course, to rye bread. Okay, it's looking real melted and good. A lot of condensation. It's very humid here on top of everything. I want this to get nice and bubbling. I never know when to turn it off. And by off, I mean my camera. Don't we just want to watch this cheese melting? You guys could always fast forward. But I think it's important. Let me go on this side. See if we can see through this a little better. Okay, you see the cheese. Oof, this thing is hot. You see how the cheese is just forming around that tuna? It's hugging it like an old friend. All right, I'm gonna turn this off for now. I'm just gonna keep watching it. It's probably not gonna be more than, it says 2 minutes left on my timer. I set it for 5, so set your timer from now to 2 minutes. Or should I? No, I will. Okay, with 1 minute left, you can see it breathing now. The cheese is just a bubbling. That's just what we're looking for. Okay, that turned it off. Time to get them out. Okay. Here are my beauties. So let's see. This is gonna be hard. Perfect. Then the next one. You know, if I just would do right by myself, I could just put these two pieces together like the last one. But that will be too easy. Okay, here. All right. That looks, it looks so beautiful, you guys. Get your guts in here. I'll take a bow. All right, I'm gonna put them back in for just a few minutes to crisp the final on the rye bread. Like I said, it already has butter on it, so I'm gonna put it in another 5 minutes, but I'm probably gonna take it out in 3. All right, I've put it back in at 350 degrees. I figured out this thing doesn't go past 350. And I'm sure if you have the new wave ovens, it will. So I just took off this ring. Not that it matters, like I'm saying, I'm not using my oven because it's hot. So I have it set at 5 minutes just to finish browning a little bit of the outside. I removed any little pieces of cheese or tuna that was hanging out because I don't want it to smoke. And we're just waiting to see our babies come out. Looking good, just looking nice. All right, let me get my husband's plate ready. I'm also gonna get some pickles. All right, it's been exactly 3 minutes. It didn't last the full 5. Now it's time to take these babies off. They look beautiful. You know, this is, I guess, the grandfather to the modern air fryer. Ah, my spatula is caught in here. Okay, hold on. They look perfect. I'm gonna pull it, I'm gonna cut it. I have some chips and some pickles, and it's time to serve.